Yep, you're with DXB today here on Dubai One TV. Hope you're enjoying your evening. And I hope you're taking something away from our coffee special. We are celebrating all things coffee culture here in Dubai. And when it comes to coffee, well, there's nothing like an original blend. And talking of original, what about one of the OGs? Next guest is the founder of one of Dubai's very first trailblazers here, which is still going strong. Just like its coffee, still very much in demand. Please welcome Director of Culture and Brand at Raw Coffee Company, Kim Thompson. Kim, really appreciate your time with us. Thanks for being with us.
I wonder if OG is actually for old girl.
No, the original, the
OG.
one of the trailblazers, the pioneers of all things coffee. So let's set that scene. I mean, paint me a picture of when you arrived in the region, when you arrived here in Dubai. What was the coffee scene like, and how? Try and quantify, if you can, how much it's evolved since then.
Oh, it's evolved very rapidly. I think I was a mother, and I ran a cafe for a couple of years at the Jebel Ali Sailing Club, and so it was recognising there was a gap because there wasn't anything that I was used to coming from New Zealand, which like Australia, unfortunately, they're like our big brother, where we like to compete against them for everything. There wasn't anything here to buy. Amazing coffee culture here, though. There always has been historically. There's a beautiful coffee culture. But I think for what I was used to, there wasn't. So I just thought there was a gap and I would try something. And then if I look back, I think it was just good luck that I chose the niche that I wanted to play in. And I think that comes back to, in New Zealand, we're used to recycling. We're used to having, fresh products. We're used to supporting local. All those things were just part of what I'd grown up with. So I was naive and just started it.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Kim, what do you think has changed the most from when you came and opened Raw to now, given we're in this coffee crisis? How have things changed the most?
I'm very people orientated, so I think in the early years we had to invest a lot in people because it wasn't a profession anybody arrived in Dubai and wanted to work in. They wouldn't have seen a future. They would have maybe wanted to work in a hotel and hospitality, but it wouldn't have been in a cafe or with coffee. So it was creating that culture and empowering and training people. And then now, with the challenges, I think it's even more so having to invest in the people, and from the farmer through the producer, through the other suppliers you work with, through your team, and then transfer information to the consumer or the customer without shoving it down their throat, sort of somehow showing that you care about ethics and sustainability and all the other things, but not being loud about it. So it's about people and communication.
I'm interested to know, obviously we've discussed that there's many cafes here in Dubai, but for you, what makes a great cafe or a truly fantastic sustainable cafe?
I was just talking to the next guests that are coming out, and I had just met them. They're the first time I've met them. Really lovely young guys, and I'd heard about their cafe that's opening and the roastery, and then we're right beside a new roastery's just opened up literally across the road from us. I think competition makes you have to work harder. It makes you remain relevant. You have to keep up and evolve. So I think without maybe even being aware of it, the sheer number of competitors there are in the market forces us to keep trying to stay ahead of the curve and to use the relationships we have with our suppliers. We have amazing coffee producers. It just makes us work hard to try and stay. We don't have the biggest budget, we don't have investors. We have the knowledge and we have the relationships. Competitively, they're pushing us to be better. And I'm sure that's not what they want to do, but they are.
And from a sustainability standpoint?
From a sustainability, I think first a business has to be sustainable itself. You have to be able to pay your salaries, you have to be able to pay your producers and your suppliers. So I really believe you have to be able to run a really solid business sustainability regarding water and using products that with no plastic and everything. Again, we were just lucky we did it from the beginning. It wasn't something we had to adapt to because our customers were demanding it. It was something we cared about.
Amazing.
And I think if you had a business, you would care about it yourself, you know. It makes it take longer.
Yeah.
And maybe there's no immediate financial reward, but it comes.
And Kim, we talked about like that Dubai is the hub for coffee. There's so many coffee shops popping in.
Yep.
We are huge coffee consumers, but maybe the appreciation of coffee has lessened because it's so ready available. So how, like, what do consumers probably don't know about the journey of that coffee cup until it lands to us? Like, how can we appreciate more and the time and effort that came into making that one cup?
It's a really good question, and it's so hard because I think our role as a roaster is to tell the story of the producer. Really, that's the main thing. And yet a lot of people come in, so if you're on your way to work, you come in, you want the same drink, you might come at the same time, you might sit in the same seat, you know exactly what you want. You don't necessarily have the space or the empathy to actually care. So we somehow have to find a way to share that story in social media or in the marketing material that we have to our customers, and in the storytelling of that particular origin of coffee. But I actually think customers care more now than they did. I think at the beginning it was a new interest, and it was very it was an extension of someone's lounge to have people into their space and serve them coffee and everything. But I think now, particularly your generation, younger generation, I'm kind of looking at you too, but you know, you support a brand where you have your ethic alignment, and you choose where your clothes are coming from and who you're going to support. And I think it's the same with coffee, actually. So it's about the storytelling, and it's about you know, you might own a business, but you're not there to deal face to face with the customer. It's often your team. So it's making sure that the team are trained and enjoying their job and like dealing with customers.
And Kim, you and I have had lots of conversations about how to run businesses, and we were talking earlier about the success fallacy of opening a cafe and the industry and a roastery. What's the reality of what it takes to run a coffee shop and a roastery in 2026?
Well, I'm only 13 days into it.
But
Still here.
we're still here. We've managed to survive the first couple of weeks.
I think we've known the volatility in the market was there. We've known climate change is real, and it's here. It's not just you know, a story. Rents are increasing. People need their salaries reviewed and performance, you know, bonuses and things. So I think things are costing a lot more. You have to be clever. We're actually looking at making some significant changes in the way we run our business at the moment. We're growing, but we've never worked as hard as we're working at the moment. It's wild. But I think the sustainability of our business surviving this crisis is going to be about the relationships we have with the producers. And instead of, I think we really, really have to switch our focus to the origin countries, support them in any way that we can. We don't argue when we're given our pricing. We pay it because we need the product. We're doing pre-commitments now to try and tell them what we need in the coming year, so that we are prioritised. We prepay 50% to help them, because their crop only comes once a year. So they've run out of money by the time the next crop is due to be harvested. They don't have the money to process it. So we're doing everything we can to try and help them survive, because if we don't, they'll grow something else.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much, Kim.
No, you're welcome. Thank you
for giving us
me.
your fabulous insight. Very quickly, what's your coffee? How do you take your coffee?
I'm very boring now. I have a brewed coffee, just a hand-poured coffee, and I don't have a favourite origin. It just depends what mood I'm in, and I'm really lucky because I can just go down and choose.
I was going to say, you're very, very lucky. Welcome, thank you so much. We're going to ask you to just stay right there, because now it is time for today's roundup. And Metha, You're the lady in the knowledge. What have you got for us?
Well, Amy, for all you coffee enthusiasts, you have till tomorrow to visit the World of Coffee. It's the Middle East's premier platform for the specialty coffee community. It brings together coffee producers, manufacturers, retailers, traders, not only in the UAE, but worldwide. And I want to ask you, ladies, like, how important is it to have such events coming to the UAE and bringing all these people from all over the world to talk about coffee and deal with the business of coffee, Kim?
I'm self-financed, so I tend to spend the money on going to the farms, the coffee farms and the origins, because that's where I get my relationships with the farmers. But I think being able to meet the equipment manufacturers, to see what the new technology is, any innovation, there is a demand for it, but I'm not someone that is a big trade show person. I find them too overwhelming. And we're really lucky because everyone comes to us.
Yes. We all love the OG.
Yeah. But I think it creates a real buzz. And if you were a new roastery or a new cafe, it would be incredible because you could connect and network, meet suppliers.
What about you, Lee? What do you think about these events?
I find that with the coffee crisis the way that it is, it's important for us to always turn our attention back to the farmer and make sure that there are origin trips that we could look at doing, or we could look at spending this money on paying for the coffee. Because if we want to have businesses into the future, supporting the farmer should be our #1 priority.
So to that point, and I sort of take your point, celebrating events like this, and you see them across all the industries, but quite often, there's a lot of chat, not a huge amount of action,
That's a problem.
And especially when you're talking about the perils that we're facing at the moment, something that you guys work day in and day out towards, action is key now. You need to walk the walk rather than talk the talk over countless cups of coffee. So to that end, early in 2026, resolutions have all been done and dusted, but wish list for 2026. If we've got events like this, where people are coming up with policy or making changes, what one change would you like to see with regards to the coffee industry moving forward at the moment for 2026? What's on your wish list?
Start listening to coffee farmers and paying them what they need to have sustainable businesses.
Okay.
And I'd like to see some knowledge sharing to help the origin countries actually generate more money in their country, because at the moment they export the green product, but that they could be roasting, they could be having a coffee culture in their own country as well, which would benefit everybody. I think that would be wonderful.
Can I say one more thing on that?
Of course you can, yeah.
Coffee is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
The future of coffee is not, coffee producers don't have to grow coffee for us. And they are right at the breaking point. They are right at the point where, and the seriousness of this situation is that we have reserves of coffee that are stored for like 12 months for commercial. They are out. They are empty. And if Brazil doesn't produce a killer crop this harvest, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So if we don't start paying attention to really what coffee farmers need to be able to change the varietals so that they can adapt to droughts and floods and frosts, and we don't help them transition their farming to what is something that's sustainable for them to have a business, why wouldn't they sell to their land to ecotourism? Their children don't, the majority of them, don't want to take on the farms. And so the average age of a farmer these days is up to 50 and 60.
Yeah.
And we're not really good at adopting new agronomy practices or anything like that. It's inherited knowledge, usually a lot of the case when they're that age.
Action is key because, life without coffee is something that none of us want, that's for sure. Kim, listen, we've got to thank you. Thanks so much indeed for coming on. Thanks for everything that you do. Let's just keep roaring about raw
Thank you.
because it is part and parcel of our lives. So thank you so much indeed.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.